we're going to welcome everybody out. My name is Janelle, and we're glad to have you all here. How many of you, this is your first time being here? We've got a good group of new ones, and then some that aren't. I'm just going to do a few housekeeping items while a few more people come in. The first thing is that if you want to join the UCBA as a member, you can pay back here. There's some Venmo, or we can take cash. It's $20 for the year for your household. It offers things like if you're a member and we do a group buy, you can get in on that. We will help with mentoring as much as we can. So there's just a few things like that we do. If you don't want to join, you want to come and just be a part for a while, that's okay too. The membership fees do help with the BAB program as well as some other things that we do. But also, for those who are new beekeepers, or maybe if you're not new but you just want to learn, we are holding a class on March 2nd from 8 to about 4. It depends on a few things. It might end a little earlier than that, but it's $75. It does include your membership for the year. And it's really valuable. You will feel like you're drinking from a fire hose because there's a lot of information, but it's really valuable. If it's your second year and you're just like, hey, I learned more my second year from it than I probably did my first year because I kind of knew what I was like. I knew what a hive box was. And so anyway, that's just something. If you want, you can do the membership or you can sign up for the class online. If you do it that way, it's helpful because we don't have to take your information and transfer it from paper then to a computer program, so we have it. But it is working on our website. You can just Google Utah County Beekeeping Association, and the class is under education, and then down at the bottom it says UCBA classes, and you click on that. There's a form you fill out, has your name, a couple of questions. The membership is also on there, and it does link you, automatically asks if you want to be on the swarm list for anybody. So if you've already paid your dues and you want to fill out the form, that's great too, so we have it already done and we don't have to transfer it. Then the other housekeeping thing is there is a man, no association with the association, but he dips hive parts. So a hive box, if it's not been painted, you can dip it in wax. He does that, and if you do it in a group, it's cheaper than if you say take one box. So if you're interested, his information is back there, and you can take a picture with your phone of that or reach out to us. We can send you his information. I think you can find him on Facebook. Bill Gruber, I think, is his name or something like that. So anybody who's interested in that, that's a piece of information. And then I think, I'm just making sure I got all the housekeeping stuff. And then the other thing is we just wanted to announce, for those that are new that maybe haven't heard of this, there is something called the Be a Beekeeper. It's a Youth Be a Beekeeper program. Where youth apply, and then we select a certain number of them to get a hive and parts. So we got quite a few applications on that, and we chose 4 different people. So I don't know if they want to stand up, we can clap for them or whatever, but we have Cooper, Daniel, Levi, and Tanner. And I don't know if they're all here or any of them. I know one is, I saw Cooper was here. Are you? And that's Levi, right? And Cooper, so congratulations. Oh, and this is Daniel. Okay, sorry to embarrass you. But yeah, we're excited for them. It's an exciting thing for them to be able to take the hive and learn from it and do that. So, that is kind of the housekeeping to get us started. Terry, we're going to turn the time over to him for a little bit. I'm going to kind of preface it. Oh, hold on. Yeah, here's the other housekeeping. So we participate in the farm field days, in just a second, but at Harvard Farms. And what it is we go in, they bring in elementary kids, I think it's second graders. So fun.
7 years old.
7 years old. They're so full of energy and got stung by a bee once. And then everybody else tells that they did too. But you have about 4 minutes in a rotation to tell about beekeeping. And then they swap them and they go to a different group. And it's really fun. They love the bees. They love learning about it. It's just a really short snippet. But if you have a chance to sign up for it, we've got April 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, so you can plan it out. But if we can get people signed up, you can go with a buddy. It's really fun. It's one of the favorite activities. Bad kids, it is sometimes during school, so you can get checked out maybe, but it is a good thing to do. Yeah.
What are the subject matter? What's the topics?
So the topic is beekeeping. You go there and you say, how many of you know about bees? And they're all like, I do, right? And then you say, there are 3 kinds of bees. There's a queen bee, and there's a worker bee, and there's a male bee. And it's so simple and so basic, and that's probably my phone.
I'm gonna grab mine.
Or it's Shelly's. I'm gonna blame it on Shelly. It was totally Shelly.
We have a cheat sheet that you can look at.
Yeah, we have a cheat sheet you can take and you just read it, and you kind of get the feel for it, what you want to cover. It goes so fast, but it's a lot of fun.
You cannot cover the cheat sheet.
No. It's 4 minutes. It's so quick.
How long is the full day?
So it's like 10 to 11:30 on the 9th, and then 11:50 to 1:35. So you can do, you can do both sessions, or you can do one. You can have 2 people. So if you want to do it with somebody else, like, I don't want to do it by myself. That's scary. Those second graders. Then you can sign up. I know that's scary for Gordon. So yeah. Yes.
I have a question on with the hive dipped in wax.
Yes.
What's the benefit of that?
So it makes the box last longer. You don't have to paint them. They weather a lot better. Things that are dipped in wax are waterproof. So the bees like it. Understand that they do. I don't know. I haven't looked into it a lot, but
I do know that online companies that sell
Yeah.
boxes, a lot of them do have
Do.
the option for just
Wax, yeah.
Wax boxes.
Yeah.
So if it's been painted, can you scrape it off and sandblast it?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I'd reach out to ask him. I think no, but I'm not sure.
They eat the wax out so that it soaks into the
Yeah.
wood.
Yeah, so what happens is they get the wax so hot, it's like 300 degrees or something, 285 I think, and they put it in, and as it does, the wax soaks in, evaporates all of the moisture out of the wood, boils it out essentially, and the wax goes in, and so it seals it as well. So
you do that with the frame outside too, or just the
No,
Just
you-
the
usually you just do the box.
and the inner cover.
Yeah. yeah, you can do your lid and your bottom board.
I would
Yeah. Yeah, because you have to scrape it and stuff. So you can call and ask him too. Because I don't know as much, but he's probably
I've
gonna
been looking at getting wax dip, but they say the bees
take to him a lot better. That's what I've heard too.
It's got that
That
bee
smell.
smell to it, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
I just wanted to say it's my first time. I didn't find out what your name was and what your role is.
Oh, sorry. I'm Janelle, and I am a co-president with Shelly, who's back in the back, and I'm also Shelly and I are both co-BAB. Neither of us wanted to be the president, and neither of us wanted to. No, just kidding. I was gonna do BAB, but so yeah. So and it's not bad. It's the BAB kids. I know that we were about 6 months in, and somebody said, "Why do you keep calling those bad kids?" And I was like, "Oh, sorry, it's the BAB, be a beekeeper." So yeah, that's who I am. I'm Janelle, and then this is Gordon Lassen. I give him a hard time. He grovels at my feet, but he's our vice president, and he just grovels because
Thanks for volunteering for that.
Ian made sure he volunteered Gordon for that. Okay.
My back is too.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna give a little brief thing about what Terry is doing, and then I'll let him go. There's different treatments that you have to take care of mites. Mites are a big deal with bees. For those of you who haven't done bees, this is part of why we wanted to cover it tonight. You need to take care of your mites. when I talked to the state people, they said it was about a 70 to 80% of hive losses in Utah are due to mites killing them. It's a parasite, so you have to treat for them. There's different treatments, and we don't sponsor one over the other. However, there is something called a Swedish or a sponge, right? An oxalic.
Swedish towel,
yeah,
Swedish towel.
The towel is what we use. But last year, there was the EPA or the FDA came down and said you can no longer make these Swedish towels. It's against policy. And on January 8th of this year, they came out with something that said it's still not approved. However, it's approved for a personal beehive. So right now, it's approved. Terry's going to teach you how to do it. You can use it in your hives right now. It might change next month, and we might have to tell you that, but we are going to share with you what we know. Jenna Crowder came last year. She's one of the state beekeepers, and she said, I'm not going to promote it or not, because it was within a week or something of them coming and saying we couldn't use it anymore. But she did say, I will tell you this, in hives that I inspect that use these, it's almost always that there are 0 mites. It's very effective. Now, it's not a 100% thing. It's always important to rotate out different treatments. But so that's what Terry's doing. So anybody that's saying it's against the law, what we know as at January 8th, we're okay as long as you're not operating on a huge scale. Commercial, yeah.
The EPA on January 8th, and then they've updated as of January 31st, has clarified a little bit.
Okay,
It is legal it's not legal, it still says it's illegal. It says they likely, is the word they use, will not try to come after you. The reality is backyard beekeeping, they're probably never gonna know, right?
yeah,
But, so it's still likely, it's still illegal. They say personal consumption use, but personal consumption use isn't defined, and they make that very clear that, we're trying to word this in ways that make it so that basically it's clear that it's not okay, but we're not gonna come after you. But they say as soon as you give it away, sell any bees, give away bees, wax, any product from it, then you are commercial at that point because you're selling it, and you lose and step out of that. So this is literally only if you consume everything
from your
yourself,
own.
from the hive.
Okay, because we reached out to the state and they said it looks like you are good to go.
Yeah, that's
That's-
what the EPA released on January 31st.
Okay, yeah, this was just this week when they told us. We reached out and it looks like you're good to go if your backyard. So we'll let you, that's the information we have, and the state did say they have reached out to the EPA for further clarification, because what they have seen, it's really muddied. It's like, it's not okay, but go ahead. So, that's what, yeah, so Terry's gonna show us that, and then we'll go on from there.
Okay, how much time?
You're pretty, you can
20 minutes?
Yep.
20,
take
30?
what you need, yeah.
Okay, well, I want to confess, I'm a sinner. I've used this method for several years. And I guess I use it, well, I don't sell my honey. I give it to my neighbors and friends and family, and after I get through all that, I still have way more honey than I need. This is a shop towel. Oh, before we go into that, let me just say, I talked to a state inspector about this, and I asked him, okay, he said that the shop towel method, or the Swedish towel method, is not legal at this point, like you said. But he said none of the inspectors would say anything if they found it. So he's a state inspector. He said if none of them, if they found it, and they wouldn't say anything. But of course, they're not the police. He said that if we wanted to use it, he didn't see any problem, but it still hasn't formally been approved. So I suspect it's going to be. There are other ways of killing varroa mite. Formic acid is one. Now, the problem they have was that they say that this and this maybe it may have some residual stuff in it that the acid absorbs, and then it gets into the honey and blah, blah, blah. I don't believe that, but anyway, this is the shock towel. Shock towel method is soaking the shock towel in the oxalic acid and glycerin mixture, and the method on Swedish claws is the same thing. You just dip them in, they absorb a lot of it. Then you put them in the hive. What I've done, last year, 2 years ago, I checked for mites. What I do is put 3 strips in every hive on the bottom box, on the top of the frames, and on each one. And after checking, I don't know when it was, but I put them in there in the spring, and then I change them out with new ones about midsummer sometime. And then I put in a mix, and I change them out again in the fall after I extracted. And I leave them in all winter. So, 2 years ago, we checked for mites, 0 mites on the first check. It was probably May, June, after we put them in the early spring. Last year, and that all 7 of our hives last year, 2 years ago, came through the winter. None of them died. Didn't have any loss. I've lost all of them in the past years. I've been beekeeping for 13 years now, and I've lost all of them several years in a row. And I really think it was the mites that got them. Last year, you go ahead.
Could you repeat that schedule again?
Oh,
You said you start in the spring and put them in?
in the spring when I reverse the boxes and you first look at your bees and see if the queen's laying eggs and all that. The first inspection, I put it in then.
And you leave them in for how long?
I leave them in until June or July.
Really?
Then I pull those old ones out, put new ones in. Now the bees will kind of chew these up, and so the shock towels, but they don't chew these up. These will stay without being chewed up. I don't know why, but anyway. But I leave them in until I replace them with the other, and then in the fall I put them in and I leave them in all winter. Last 2 years, all 7 of our hives went through the winter. Didn't lose a single one. And when we check for mites, there's no mites. So I don't check that much, but when we've checked for them, we haven't found mites. So anyway, I'm sold on this method for treating mites. So let's see. Okay, let me just, a little information here. You know that a lot of foods we have oxalic acid in them. They call it oxalates, but peanuts and rhubarb and spinach and beets and Swiss chard are fruits or things that have a lot of oxalic acid in them. Let's see, what does it say? The high ones have between 200 and 300 milligrams. That's 300 would be 3/10 of a gram, which is very little bit in them. But it says also that if you have a problem with kidney stones, a kidney stone is oxalic. No, it's come on. It's calcium oxalate.
There's different kinds of kidney stones.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I think so. This is said one of the most common one is a calcium oxalate, and so anyway, all I'm saying this as far as if you're having kidney stones, just watch how many of these things you eat. They say doctors who are treating people with a lot of kidney stones say less than 100 milligrams a day is what they should eat. So don't eat peanuts and Swiss chard and rhubarb and all those things. Okay, so oxalic acid is normal. It's a normal acid that is in everything, in the things we eat. And it's a weak acid. I'll show you tonight. I'm going to put my finger in some of it. And you have to be careful anytime you're working with acids. I mean, an acid can burn you. I mean, some of the real strong acids are terrible, but this is a weak acid and it doesn't hurt you. but you wanna use gloves when you're working with it. And especially, you want to use eye protection. If you get oxalic this mixture in your eye, it could put your eye out, but if you got it washed out soon and walk to the doctor, it'd be all right. But the chances of spilling this in your eye are pretty small. But I still recommend wearing the safety glasses while you do it. Okay, so with that, so oxalic acid is approved for use in killing mites. The drip method is where you mix up some oxalic acid water and dribble it in on top of the bees. I don't like that because you're getting the oxalic acid strong concentration right on a bee, and I don't know. Maybe it kills them, maybe it doesn't. And then the vapor. The vapor, vaporizing oxalic acid is tedious and a pain in the fanny, to be honest with you. And it's dangerous. When I first started out, I bought one of these little things you plug in the battery and you vaporize the oxalic acid. And I got a little whiff of the vapor, and it takes your breath away. It really does. It's not good. So I don't like that. I love this method because it's so simple. Okay, I'm going to just show you what we do, how we do it. Tonight I'm going to make enough for 4 hives. And that is 1 sheet of this. What's it called? Swedish water. Okay, what I do is I cut it into 3 pieces, like that. And so this would be one for 1 hive. And so I'm going to make 4, and then we're going to give them away to you, if those who would like them after we get through here. So let me just cut them up here right quick. I should have cut them all up, but I wanted to show you how you cut them, I guess.
That's okay, I really like it.
So
Only mite treatment you do at all?
No, there are other mite treatments you can do. Is that the only one he does?
Yeah.
That's all he does, yeah.
Does them twice a year and that's all you do a period?
3 times, yeah.
3 times a year.
Spring, summer, fall.
You don't do any other types of mite treatment other than these?
no. Also, a study was done by Scientific Beekeeping. What's his name, that man?
Randy Oliver.
Randy Oliver. He's an expert in this area and done a lot of studies on this, continues with him. He said that they did some tests. Some of the things that kill mice, the bees get used to it and it's not very effective. And so he said they did a test on this for like 8 years or 8 times or something. And they found that they did not get immune to oxalic acid. So that's still kind of up in the air, but that's what he said. And so that's good. Okay, so how do we do this? You need about, for 3 of these, for 1 hive, you need about 50 grams of oxalic acid and 50 grams of glycerin and a little bit of water. Randy Oliver says that a little bit of water in it makes it absorb a little better into this. So I'm going to do that today. So I'm going to get ready here.
Would you repeat the dosage again?
And then 50 grams of the glycerin.
And how much water?
What I do is I'm just going to put some in, about 1/3 as much as you put glycerin, just a little bit. So for 4 hives, it's 50 grams and 50 grams and a little water. So I'm going to do 4. So 4 times 50 is 200 grams of oxalic acid, 200 grams of this, and okay, I'm going to start with.
Do any of the kids in the back want to move up? Or all
Can you see? Yeah, we got some seats
Don't
up
forget
front
your glasses.
if you want to.
Your glasses, don't forget your
Come
glasses.
on. I have better. That would be terrible. Okay, so I've got a little measuring thing here that measures grams. I got it set for grams. I'll put my tare on here, and then I'll just start putting in 200 grams of oxalic acid. We'll see how much that is. Ooh, that's starting to heat up. I can smell it. There's 20, 30. There's 130, 160, 180, 209. That's close enough. So 200 grams of this. And then I'm going to put in the glycerin. Whoa.
Your glasses.
120, 150, 160, 170, 80, 90. Whoops. 224. That's close enough.
Can you tell me where you get that oxalic acid?
Pardon?
Where do you get it?
Oh, I get it off Amazon. I ordered it Monday and it came Tuesday. Both of these. So, I mean, they were very fast. So now I can start heating it. Now you don't want to heat this up really hot. I mean, never let it boil, but just heat it up just enough to dissolve the oxalic acid. So I got some water here, and I'm going to put in how much? Not that much.
Really?
How much was that?
That was about 20 grams. About 20 grams. I mean, I don't think it's no big deal. If, you know, one way or the other. It's not-
This recipe is actually available on scientific.
Yeah, it's available on Scientific Weekly.
Okay, sure. Now, I'm gonna, as this heats up, I'll stir it, and when you first mix them up, it's all, you can't see it, it's white mixture. When it gets all dissolved, it comes just pure water white, when it's all ready to go. Well,
Never doubt you.
I didn't put my glasses on, you didn't remind me again.
Actual spend,
We got tired.
gives what uses, and the difference between the Swedish towels and then shop towels.
Yeah, the shop towels they found are not effective at all.
The difference that they use between those, because there is a really big difference.
Yeah, they started out with the shop towels and found out they are not
And they were
effective.
not, so you do want to use the heavier solutions.
Thank you
No.
for pointing that out.
Now what I do, I pour this, when this gets ready, I'll pour it in this pan, and it just fits. And I'll just throw these in, soak them, turn them over, and get them in. I need a little help when we get
Yeah.
ready to pull them out.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna put them in a bag and double bag them so that you don't get any of this stuff on you.
You just
But- No, when we get, you know, later.
I'll still use
And then
your
And it's heating up. I brought some ice. I'm gonna put this pan in ice to cool it off quick because it's gonna be hot. It's gonna burn my fingers. So you just had to get it cool enough that you can handle it. And I usually at home you just turn it off and let it sit a few minutes and it'll cool down. So, what can I say while we're waiting here?
Just stir that until it goes from the cloudy mixture to being clear.
Yeah, it's cloudy. It's getting more clear now. And it's almost there. So,
I just
Man.
put, Terry, I just put my towels, when I did it, when it was approved, I just put it in a big Ziploc bag.
Uh-huh.
And then once it was cooled, I just pour it right in. I didn't have like a special pan,
oh, yeah,
that's what
Put
you
the
do,
bag?
triple. Yeah, I just stick them right in a Ziploc bag and I pour the liquid and then
that's
And then
good.
I can just kind of go like this with it,
Uh-huh.
so.
That eliminates one step, doesn't it? That's good. That's a good way to go. So and now it's just almost water clear now. It's getting really close to it. And then we'll be done. Once we soak these in, and we'll pull them out. What I do is I get them just as much acid as I can in them, then I fold them over and kind of just squeeze them a little bit, squeeze the excess out so it's not dripping or running too much, and leave it as full as possible. Then I stick it in a plastic bag and take it out to the pull the top box off, have the bottom box there, flip 3 of these on there, put them back on. It takes just 30 seconds. It's a
Where do you
really,
put them on? Are you putting them on the top of the frame or are
Uh-huh.
you putting them in between
the top of the frame, and I
Top of the
just
frame.
kind of spread them apart, 2 here and 1 in the middle, I mean, just like that, you know. So the bees come up and walk over them and so, okay. Almost there. I said that a minute ago, we're getting closer. Whoops. That's why I put this plastic down, 'cause I'm gonna have to roll it up and throw it away when it gets through. Okay, it's clear now, there are a couple little,
And if anybody needs to go up and see what that clear is, I think that that's always kind of a mystery to me when I was first doing it, is what do they consider clear, right?
Yeah, go look. You're welcome.
you can look if you want, you can come up. It just looks like water, it's,
Yeah, you don't wanna make a gas out of it.
Yeah.
If that's,
okay. All right,
It's just
let's cool off.
And then. You can go look, Terry, she wants to.
See it's how clear it is? Whoops,
Got some on the bottom.
yeah.
Go.
Okay.
I don't want to burn
I don't wanna run this either.
Wanna wipe down some of these?
that. Good idea. Or use the ones that aren't.
See,
There,
it is important to hear.
I'll hold it for a minute.
Hold in my breath.
you smell it a little bit? Oh, hey, we're ready to go. I can put my finger in there now. Okay, so we'll take these, dump them in, and they,
It's totally safe.
you see this is, this is completely soaked up. When it's warm, they just absorb this very quickly,
Fast.
so, let's put
You
some
have all
more.
3 of them together.
Yeah, he just stuck them in and then.
I just stuck them in. You can do,
You want me to add some?
yeah. Just go ahead and put all of this. Oh, that fits. It's not very good.
Yeah, don't put it back on there, let it oil and,
Well, it's off.
is it off, is
Yeah.
it still on?
Yeah.
It was just that it was still hot before, but it's still warm.
You gotta check my air.
Good you said that. I leave the gas on the stove after my wife was coming and she'll say, how come you left the gas on?
Is this where you want to put them too?
Okay, now, these over here, the small ones first, and I'll bring them out, and just, if you'll just let me put them in there. Ooh, that's a one. Okay. And I just do this, and then I just gonna squeeze it out, just enough to, so it's not dripping a lot. And put it in a bag. There's one.
So Janelle, when you do yours and where you just dump the stuff in the bag, do you squeeze anything out and tip the bag upside down or?
I just
He holds his and drips them. I usually use a big Ziploc bag, a gallon size that zips, and I just put my towels, all of them in, and then I just pour the liquid in there. Once it's cooled for just a minute, then I just take it, and then I just kind of knead it a little bit, and then I let it go and it soaks in. And if I'm like, oh, there's extra liquid in the bag, I'll throw in another one. So
But this is-
it's not necessarily wet, but it's still like pliable. It's not dripping out by any means. What do you say, Cole?
It won't drip.
Yeah, it's
Saturated but not drip.
it's saturated but not drippy. Yeah.
But so if there's excess liquid in the bag, you're putting another towel to
Yeah.
take that out.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see it's starting to solidify a little bit, so it's kind of.
I've never had to do that.
What's the shelf life? After you make this, how long can you leave it like that?
I kept it over a year. I used them. As long as there's not a hole in the bag, they're gonna stay moist.
Put it over another one, yeah. Okay, all right, so, like I said, this is an acid and it will burn you if you leave it on your hands, but I'm gonna grab some of this on my fingers. You see it on there? My fingers aren't burning, it's not hurting my fingers, but if I leave it on there for a while, it will. So that's why I brought that bottle of water,
I was gonna say,
to clean it off. So, but if you had a cut, it would start to burn, but my fingers aren't burning or anything. It's an acid, you need to be very careful, but if you get a little on your hand, don't scream and run and think you're dead. Just go wash it off with water, just for several minutes, wash it off with water and it'll be fine.
So you make them fresh each time, that 3 times that you do it, you don't.
Well, I make it
them
in
all
the
at
year, first of the year and for enough for the whole year, so, yeah. And I don't have to worry about it after that.
And you store them at room temperature, just on a shelf somewhere?
Yeah, just room temperature.
Freezer as well.
Okay, so, any questions about, we kind of went pretty fast here, but any questions about what you do and how you should do it? It's simple, it's very effective, and it's simple to do and it's simple to put in the hives. That's what I like about it.
So the mites drop off and they litter the floor of the hive then?
Yeah, well, you'll see mites on these towels
you'll
too.
see them on the towels, yeah, that is really cool too.
And plus they drop off and so.
So as that sits, does it crystallize?
It just dries out and gets hard and then kind of crumbly almost.
And that's okay to put it in like that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you mean in the bag like that?
Or you put it in your hive?
Once you put it in your hive, then yeah, it starts to dry out a little, but just like on the shelf.
The intent is that the oxalic acid will start to recrystallize, and as the bees walk across it, they'll pick up little crumbs
Yeah.
and spread it throughout the hive, which will then in turn kill more mites
Mm-hmm.
as they spread it out.
The only thing that evaporates is the water.
The water.
Glycerin won't evaporate.
That does crystallize.
Is it safe to use if you have the honey super on? Or do you, if you have honey, do you need to take that out, take them off?
That's
That's a personal choice.
I was gonna say, oxalic acid is one that you can use. If you're doing like a vaporizer, they say take off your honey super, vaporize, then put your super right back on. It can be instant that way. With these originally, what I read from Scientific Beekeeping is it's safe, if I remember right, but.
You can do now with supers on.
Yeah, it's approved.
They choose it.
Oh, that vaporizing, yeah, okay. Thank you.
It's not folic acid. So you don't have to change anything, you just slap these babies on there.
It's not approved, but that's,
But
but it's illegal, we're teaching you, yeah.
Isn't the logic behind this is you're putting it on the bottom box? That's not your honey super.
No,
So it's not going to be,
yeah.
The bees will trap it all.
The bees will take it throughout your hive,
oh, sure,
yeah.
put the strips on it.
Yeah, the strips aren't in your honey super.
Yes.
They're between your brood boxes,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
If you have multiple boxes, you can put one on each level box.
So usually, generally speaking, so some people run like 3 mediums instead of 2 deeps as far as the brood box is concerned. If you're doing 2 brood boxes that are deeps, you would put it in between the first and second box, then you'd add your supers above that. So for all of you first year beekeepers or don't have bees yet, I'm speaking a foreign language and you can feel like I don't have a clue what you're saying and that's okay. The other people run 3 mediums. Shelley, do you put your sponges between 2 boxes, both of your brood boxes, right? Do you do 3 on each of them, or do you do 2 like?
I just take mine in here.
So Shelley doesn't cut hers into
I don't
third.
like that.
She cuts it in. She just tears
We're
it in
having
half.
a mini discussion back here. I don't know that there's any right way. Ron used to put them on his bottom so that the bees, when
As they
came
walk
the
in.
entrance, they have to come across it.
Yeah. So Ron, before he found these, he went over the top with these
Yes.
sponges. He had 72 mites in one hive and 64 in the other. Which is deadly to hives, right? He was like, there's no way they're gonna make it. He made these, put them in, and they dropped down to 0. and they made it through the winter. It didn't affect like how strong they were, so he was like, holy smokes. So then he did. They were on the bottom board, he put 3. On the median, in between the first box, he put 3. On the top one, he put 3.
Kept them in year round.
Yeah, and it was year round. So he, and I don't, I didn't ever do that many, but it worked good. He didn't have mites either.
So does it kill the mites that are under cap?
No, so the ones that are under cap though, when they're killed as they come out, right? And then on the bees, and then there won't be more to go in.
That's why it's important to keep it through a full.
Yeah, so the one thing about the Swedish sponges that is advantageous is that the study says that it lasts between 30 to 40 days, which that will get multiple brood cycles. So if they're in the brood cycles, you're going to have them come out, they're gonna hatch, they're gonna come, they're gonna get killed, and there's not gonna be more to go away. That's why you can get down to the 0. A lot of other treatments, you make a treatment, and then you have to do it 7 days later or 14 days later, and if you miss it up and there's a rainy day and you can't get in, then they've hatched and they've already relayed. This one is effective for 45 days, which is a huge, that's one of the reasons I think there is such a pushback against the EPA and FDA on this, just because it is really effective. So, yeah.
So when the bee is emerged, don't mites kill it before it comes out?
No.
So they come out, the mites are still there, but then they get out in the air and then the vapor kills the mites?
Yeah, as the crystals and stuff, yeah, they take it throughout, yeah.
Janelle, will you speak? We've got a lot to the fact, we've got a lot of new beekeepers here that when they're getting their new packages, that they have a brood break, and so they're probably not gonna treat until.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. The next thing we were gonna just talk about is if this is your first year of beekeeping or you're interested in getting into it, the one thing you wanna do right now is you're gonna be looking for somebody to buy bees from, whether that's, a neighbor, which if they're using this, they can't sell them to you, but, or if it's, well, I don't know, 'cause, yeah. Or if it's, buying them from a reputable dealer like Lee Knight, who gets them from Oliveras Bees, or if it's IFA. I do want to warn you that last year we had quite a few members who bought them off of Facebook and got ghosted. They lost $180. So be really careful. Yeah, Merry Christmas. And so just be careful, ask around, ask people that already have them, ask them where they get them. That's something really important. Same with your buying boxes or something, just be careful. I know my dad found somebody who was like, I'll give you a great deal. It's a 10-frame box. Well, the 10-frame box didn't have regular sized frames in them. It wasn't standard equipment. And so when he went and had to get a next box, he put it on and the frames fall right through. They were much bigger, so you have to go back to this guy. So just be careful. That's my warning. Most of the people that you deal with are going to be honest and they're really good people. You're not going to have that. But that's my fair warning to you. So make sure you get your equipment right now before everybody's starting to think about it and then it's on back order.
I'd say get your bees right now.
Yep, order your bees
People are gonna
too.
sell out of bees and then work on getting your equipment
And then getting your equipment as
for
well.
March and April.
Good job,
Get
Ian.
on the bee list
That's
right now.
true, yeah.
So as a club, we don't buy them.
Uh-uh.
I've been in another club where, as a group, we were able to buy them.
Yeah, we have done that in the past, sometimes like group buys. And we, if you are interested in like doing boxes or something, we did talk about that. The person that was behind it, that wanted to do the group buy on the boxes this year, just had back surgery. So
What do you mean on the boxes?
the like actual boxes that you put your hive boxes.
Instead of a nuclear package.
Equipment.
Yeah, your equipment.
Equipment.
I'm talking about buying the bees.
Right.
Oh, yeah. So, so if you're buying the bees, yeah, we just recommend you find somebody. Like, we do recommend Lee Knight. He's with Knight Family Honey. I will say this, every time I've dealt with him, the mites are like 0. Whereas some of the other places I bought and checked for mites and they were like in the 20, 25, which is a really dangerous number your bees are really weak. Lee also donates to our association, so I will say that, like he donates for the BAB kids every year. So it's several hundreds, almost $1,000 or more every year that he and Ray Oliveris donate. But they are good quality bees. I wouldn't push it if they weren't, or suggest it.
So if we're starting a hive, we don't necessarily have to start doing this right away.
No, usually, you could check your package after they've been in about 3 weeks, because you don't wanna check it the first week and they're like, I don't wanna even be here, right? If you treat them the day they move in, they might like,
Yeah.
I'm out of here, right? So yeah, give them a few weeks to get acclimated to the hive, set up, they want this to be their house, you don't just get in and bother them. But usually in the spring, your mite population, like Shelley was saying, so here's the truth. A package of bees is this. They take bees, all these nurse bees and stuff from all these different hives. Here's hive number 1, done fun. Hive number 2, they just pour them into this funnel, into this box. Then they take a queen that's mated, that doesn't know these guys, and they put them in a cage and they set them with this. These bees have never seen this queen has never seen any of these bees. They put them together, they leave them, and then that's why you leave them, when you get your package and you put them in, you leave them for a while so that they can get used to each other. So one of the ways to kill mites is just to give them a natural brood break, meaning there are no new babies, and that's what you're gonna have with a new package. If you buy a nuke, you're talking a little different, because that queen is with those bees, and so you will have to check for mites for sure with a nuke. Yeah, there's a very high chance that you're gonna have mites under the cap. And you know, so the advantages of having a nuke versus a new package and disadvantages, but so yeah, with a new package, you're not usually gonna have a lot of mites.
We'll have a few mites.
You'll probably have a few. I was gonna say IFA also is donated. We've gotten bees from them as well, so those are a couple of places you can look. But yeah, ask other people. Are there any other questions about that? Okay. Yeah, and then Terry has something. I was just gonna say, for those of you who are coming back because your bees, maybe have they been out flying? Not this week, but last week when it was beautiful, right? How many of you guys have hives still alive that are overwintered? Anybody lost everything? Yeah, Cole, I know, and you lost them too. So that's a disappointment, but, right? And it's exciting too. But for those of us that still have bees alive, we need to make sure you're checking for the weight on the hive. Is it heavy enough? Do they have enough feed? Because this is the time of year they can starve. So just be aware of that. There is pollen getting brought in. So
There is?
I saw some. So at least, I don't know where. Silver maple is what I'm wondering, but I don't know where that is in our neighborhood. But anyway,
They're attacking greenhouses all over.
that's right. We had a bumblebee, a little tiny baby bumblebee, and my kids were like, "Can we sing the song?" I'm like, "No, because we're not gonna smash up the baby bumblebee." But it went into our house and was like on our bookshelf on a book. Anyway.
My bees have been over at the neighbor's chicken feeder, picking up little bits of protein.
Of protein out of that.
Packing it back.
Yeah, and make sure they have water too. That's really important, so that your neighbors don't get frustrated from, if a pond or something, a pool. Okay, Terry.
Let me double down on that, checking your bees right now, or in a couple weeks. We checked ours a couple weeks ago, and we have candy boards in all of them. And one candy board was 3/4 gone. A couple others were half gone, and some others were just barely gone. But I don't know what the difference is there, but the one that was 3/4 gone, if we hadn't put some more sugar in there, they would have died on us before the end of February, if it gets cold again anyway. So, it's really important to check them right now, especially if you don't have a candy board on there. Check them, and if you can, what you can do right now is just take some newspaper and throw it on top of the frames.
And pour sugar on it.
And put some sugar on there, just sprinkle some on, 1/2 pound, 5 pounds, or 2 or 3 pounds, and that'll get them through the winter. So that's an important thing, because they will die if you don't feed them. I'll pass this around, but remember BYU guys, are they here tonight, the BYU guys? No, they're not. A couple months ago, the BYU guys came in and they had an invention that they wanted to show us. And the invention was a beehive heater.
Yeah.
And so I took one and I put the hive, well, it says here on here, but this is a graph of, I got a little Govee temperature and humidity thing, $17 each. I bought 2 of them, put one in the normal hive and one in the treated hive, the heated hive. And then I over time it collects data every I did this every 2 hours, I think. And then it prints it out. You can download it and print it out. So it's really a good deal. Anyway, the red is the heated hive, and the blue is the normal hive. Now, what I found was the heated hive went up in the sun when it was really sunny. It's got a black board now on the heated hive, and it hits the black board and goes up and heats the hive. Anyway, the temperatures rose up to almost 90 degrees. And these little temperature measurements were on top of the sugar board. So it wasn't exactly the temperature of the bees in the hive. It was on top of the sugar board. So the sugar board got as high as 90 degrees, and then it would drop during the night, it would drop down to like 30 to 40 degrees. And then the next day it would go up to 80 or 70 or 80 or 90 and back down. So you can look at this, and this is a little disturbing to me. I don't think the bees like that much of a change to go from 90 degrees down to 35, 40 degrees in a cycle. So anyway, I'll pass these around. You can look at them. Just pass them, take a look, pass them back.
Wouldn't they need a lot more food storage if you're heating the hive up?
That's
Probably. I don't know. I don't think they'd break. I don't know if they'd break cluster, but if you break the 90 degrees in there,
Yeah, they'd be
might
breaking,
start to
They
break.
can't leave, but they're gonna be out.
oh, they'd be breaking cluster, I think, in that height.
Yeah.
But let me just ask a question, because the heat is at the top of the hive, correct?
Yeah.
Right, depending on what you have as your roof, your cap.
Yeah.
Some of them are metal and I think absorb heat. And it would be interesting to know what those temperature regulations are, not only in the top where the heat rises, as well as if you may have something that's absorbing a lot of heat. Whereas below, it's not uniformly down into the cluster and down into the hive. We haven't checked that yet. This is only at the top, correct?
You're right. It is. Yeah.
And Terry, aren't they getting numbers for, like, didn't they put heaters on some other hives, do you know?
Yeah, they did. Several
Yeah.
people here got those,
And bought them. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I thought they were putting them in multiple places in the
But I mean,
hive to get a feel for
I think
that.
it's important to find out, what the temperature is in the hive, and that's just harder to get that little my sensor inside. I'll try that next year though.
Seems like if it's hot, they're gonna eat more, and then they're gonna have to go out and go to the bathroom more, and if it's too cold to go outside and go to the bathroom.
Yeah, I was gonna say, there are some questions, right? If that's
There are.
even beneficial or if it's,
I mean, I've been wrapping mine in tar paper, which keeps it pretty warm.
Yeah.
But I live in a high wind zone, so I was trying to block wind.
block the wind.
How
Yeah.
did you have to run a extension wire out to it, or?
No, it's it's called a Govee. It's a little thing about that big that sits on the set, and it's Wi-Fi. I have to get fairly close to it, and then I can just say download or whatever.
So
And,
it stores the data internally, but then you can pull it off.
stores it internally, then it downloads it for me into it.
I mean, is it solar, or
It moves on back.
No, it's bad. It just works on battery.
Battery.
you have to have a battery?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get those that have a K wire, you throw a little hole and put the wire right in, and then it makes it right inside your hive with your house.
Those are the scientists in our group. Yeah, it's kind of fun. Okay. Yeah, the meat thermometer. Your wife would love that, right? Like you're like, pull it out. Sorry.
It doesn't look like Bluetooth though.
That's right, it's not hooked to a Bluetooth. Okay, the one other thing that I wanted to point out was that there is, which I think we brought up last month at the meeting, there is a state license that is required by the state. It's $10. and it is very valuable. They do send out information about mites. They also send out information, reminders to treat for mites, but they also, if there's diseases in local apiaries by yours, they will send you a message saying, by the way, we've noticed that there's American foul brood, just watch out for it, or there's European foul brood.
I
So-
got that notice from last year.
Yeah, so you can get those notices so you're aware of what you need to be watching for. Or you get in your hive and you're like, what's going on? You can have that little trigger. Behind this thing that I can't get out.
Is that gonna control it?
I don't know. Probably not. Push to start.
No, it's-
String on it like
it's
it's-
I think it's just a string, right? But it's supposed to be able to come down a little further so it'll go up. But I think somebody pulled it down too far. So behind this, man in white will just show you. There you go. Okay. So if you want to write down or take a picture of that website, I'll read it to you. It's just udafdms.utah.gov. You go in to sign up, use your login, you create a Utah ID, and then you go to licenses and permits. Then there's a little thing to click on for beekeeping, and you can choose to have a paper license sent to you or just an online one. But as soon as, anyway, then they'll send you reminders. It's $10 and
Up to 10 hives.
for up to 20 hives.
20 hives.
Yeah, up to 20 hives. So,
Yeah,
That-
they come out for free. You know,
Yeah, and they'll come-
They'll come out for free.
If you have a hive you lose, they'll come out and tell you why you lost.
yeah, has everybody taken a picture or written it down that wanted to?
Do we have that link on our website?
We don't, because you know what, I will be honest, got it,
Yeah.
are you all done? Anybody?
You say the link again.
Yeah, udafdms.utah.gov.
Thank you.
Yeah, what Cole said is, I hope I didn't just ruin their thing, but it wasn't me, it's already recorded. But I was gonna say, what Cole said is very true. There's state beekeepers that will come out and look at your hive. If you have American foul brood, they'll come out if you have paid that license. They'll come out anyway, but you're by law required to have that. But they also will come out, if you've lost it, they'll do an autopsy on your hive to tell you why you lost it. So anyway, there are some really valuable things for having that permit.
They'll come out with a healthy hive.
Yeah, they will come out with a healthy
They'll come out
hive.
once a year at least, just to show us, everything okay? How's
Yeah.
it look?
And there are only 2 state beekeepers, so it depends on what's going on for the year, right? If there's a lot of American foul brood or things like that, then and yours is a healthy hive, it's gonna get bumped. But Jenna Crowder did say last year, who's one of the state beekeepers, that, you know, if you really need her out there, just tell her you're not sure if it's not sick and she'll come. So anyway, I really encourage you to do that. The BAB kids don't have to fill that out. We'll take care of that. That's something the association also covers, but, so anyway, that is something I just wanted to give you the website. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. It's not on our website yet, because in the past, they had this and it didn't work. It was a dead end. It was as bad as our website. But they both are up and working now, yay! So, anyway, so yeah, it was a dead link and you couldn't register, and then it was like, you'd get to this, you'd go about 10 steps in, and then it was like, please print this off and then send it in to us. That was their online form. And I was like, really? We just went to all that work to print it off? Anyway, so it's really easy now. Just create a username, and it took me less than 2 minutes. I was gonna show you how, but my computer's old and defunct, so the HDMI cord didn't work with it.
So fees that need to be paid, the membership is $20 for this association.
Yes, if you choose to be a part of it.
And
yeah,
then
that way.
$10 for the state,
Uh-huh.
and then what is it for the convention?
The class that's on March 2nd is
No,
70.
she's talking about
Or
the
the
state.
state.
convention.
Yeah, the 23rd and 24th.
It's 20 for the state.
It's 25 or 20 for the state,
20,
yeah.
Okay, so one is to get a state license, and then the other one is to get,
The $10 is the state license to be a licensed beekeeper. The $20 is to join the state beekeeping association. So that
Utah
is,
Beekeepers Association.
I've never joined that, not because I'm not interested, I just have so much else going on that I don't have time for that. So I have never joined that, but I know a lot of people have enjoyed it.
Prevention's good.
They have a good program.
Yeah.
On Saturday, they do they have people come in, experts, 3 or 4 experts from around the country, and to speak, and then they video it, and then they put it on out on the website, and you can, if you're a member, you can have that for 2 weeks, and you can download
And watch those.
and watch it again, and last year I went, first year, but I enjoyed it, it was good.
Yeah,
Worth it.
I've heard
I
really
didn't-
good things.
I didn't go, I just
Watch the video
Zoomed
later.
it, watched it on Zoom, so.
I went to it, it was,
It was really good, Cole.
some of it is tailored for the commercial guys.
Yeah.
I kind of lost interest on that. but
Yeah.
It was pretty interesting, I was fascinated.
Yeah, there's a lot to learn, right? No matter where you're at or how long you've been doing it. We usually end with like a Q&A. Anybody have any questions that they're dying to ask or?
When I start my hive this year, I'm picking my bees on April 27th. Should I put like almond sugar patties on there and pollen patties on there, or?
No, your hive will come with a sugar water, and so you're doing a package, not a meal,
Yeah.
right? Just making sure. So yeah, it will come with sugar water, but you'll have sugar water that you'll mix up. We will cover that kind of as it gets a little closer, usually the April meeting. And just as a shout out, I guess, or maybe get next week or next month, we're gonna have a guest speaker who is
Albert Chubak or whatever.
Chubak, yeah, and so he'll be really good. He's really knowledgeable. He is, he does. We usually have to pay money to bring him here, so he's really good. We appreciate him coming, but he will be here next month and covering our meeting. So come and enjoy his knowledge, and he kind of created his own little setup for hives, and it's pretty cool. I don't know what he's going to cover, but we've invited him. He's agreed to come. So, any other questions? Did I answer it good? Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to do a sugar. You'll want to do a sugar water rather than a pollen patty. I mean, like a sugar board.
No pollen patties.
That's preference. Usually by the end of April when you get yours, you wouldn't put it on. There's enough pollen naturally occurring that they don't want to take it at that point.
Okay.
But it depends on the hive. Some of them will take it and some won't. A lot of them will take it and just throw it outside too. Have you seen that, Ian? That is the last thing. I know, right? I know. One time, have you ever seen on Sword in the Stone when he's like doing the pile of sugar on the teacup and it's like this big, huge pile at the top? One time I looked out at the front of my hive and there's this pile of sugar that they chewed up they didn't want it. So they poured it out and it just looked just like on Sword in the Stone. If there is an interest in pollen patties, we can do a group buy for that. For those that we already did one last month and it's all purchased. So if there's more interest, we'd have to have the whole box sold, which is 40. But they're $3.50 a piece. So if you're interested in buying those, talk to Shelly back there, or Jen, and then we can decide if we're going to go ahead and do that. But we would have to have a firm commitment. You can't say, yeah, I want 10, and then say, never mind, I changed my mind, right? So that'd have to be a firm commitment out of people for that.
So how are we gonna give these, acid strips
Ask Shelly.
people?
Shelly,
You wanna draw or something like that?
I win.
It's an auction.
Highest bidder gets it.
Highest bidder. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
I have a quick question. Pollen that's left, I had a ton of pollen that were in my hive last year.
Yeah.
And so it kind of just still in there. I think maybe it's in my shed, it's cold. Does that go bad? Do they use that again in the spring? I've read some places that eventually will go bad, they won't use it.
They won't use it. I don't think it will go bad. Like it's not going to mold necessarily. But I heard that it's like 30 to 60 days, and after that, they won't touch it. And that's kind of been my experience with pollen that's come like overwintered. They won't even touch those frames. They don't even add to it. But that's been my experience. You can ask other people. Ian said they'll use it.
I did out from last year, I put a package in it and they burned right through.
And I think that's different if it's a package. If you have bees that overwintered, I think they're not going to touch it. If you do put a package, I think they will use it because because they don't have any other resources, right? They're starting from scratch, so they would,
Move that over into your packaging.
yeah.
So in your case, your personal experience, if you had that left over from last year, would you just scrape those off and start that frame over?
And just know that it is a pain to scrape those, so almost I'd pop them and put in a new frame. Like a new insert, yeah, like
Yeah.
I have put my kids on it before and said, you guys wanna do something really fun? And let them scrape it, and I was gonna save all the wax, and I did. I processed all the wax from that, and I got like less than an ounce. It was probably a third of an ounce. And that was off of like probably 30 frames. So it's not worth the wax on that. It's really just so,
Maybe throw them in a package, see if it gets used up.
and if it
not,
doesn't,
throw it.
yeah. And I wouldn't necessarily throw the frame, but
Yeah.
pop out the insert.
Yeah.
Some of you are gonna find wax worms in your frames.
I hope not.
If you store those, and you get wax worms in them, I tried scraping that wax, they got pretty bad, I tried scraping that all off, shooting those high pressure hose and everything, and it just didn't work, the bees didn't like it.
Yeah, they don't
So
take
you have to, pop the frame out, put a new.
And plus, it's so disgusting anyway. Like, just throw it away. that's
Feed
right.
it to your chickens.
Yeah. I've done that.
Where do you get the t-shirt?
Oh, this is one Ron ordered for us a few years ago. Yeah, I don't know. So the answer is that Ron gave it to me. Then Terry, that
Where's
was.
the merch store?
I know, you guys want to merch. We actually used to have shirts, and I have a whole bunch of them left over, and they have gotten sun bleached and other stuff. But so yeah, we did used to have shirts that we sold, but it seemed like people weren't interested. So if you guys are interested in that kind of thing, we could look at that too. I'd have to contact Africa, but we could look into it. Any other questions?
How do we contact anybody from the Utility Club?
If you.
I've gone to the website, but I didn't notice.
Yeah, there's a contact us button, and you just click on it, and then you can, email. It will email, and then we can get back with you. Anybody else?
Facebook group too, can't
Yeah, there is a Facebook group. If you're on Facebook, some people aren't. I'm not. So.
That's why you haven't answered anyway.
That's right. I'm not on Facebook. If you want, I have 8 children. I do not do Facebook.
Just sign one to be the Facebook monitor.
That's right. So yeah, no, I don't have time for that. Or I shouldn't have time for that. Okay, any other questions? If not, appreciate you coming. Look forward to seeing you next month with Al here. And yeah, if you have any questions or need to reach out. And like I said, go to the website, fill out the membership form there, or the class if you're interested. Or yeah, appreciate you coming.